I'm just getting started. What is
Just getting
going?
started?
Yeah, I had to restart because my
Okay.
sister accidentally knocked over the thing.
Ouch, that
Um,
sucks.
yeah. What is going on, all you cool cats and gals? This is Anime Gamer Fanboy, and here is my buddy, the hostess with the mostest, X36.
Yo.
And tonight we are going to be discussing the topic of bullying. We are going to label some current events that's been up to date, and of course, the A-list of the players. We're going to be making this into a three-parter. We're going to be discussing where bullying can take place, whether it's right to defend yourself, and the aftermath of what you should do or shouldn't do. And we're going to discuss our opinions on how certain schools should handle it. So, with that being said, and sorry if I sound like the squeaky teenager from The Simpsons. I know my voice is a little meh right now. But, like I said, I will be getting a bit better. I've been getting a little bit better and better, so, you know, it's going to be a little bit of a slow process, guys. I am going to get some ice cream later, but, you know, it's just one of those things where it'll take some. Get started. All right. So tonight, here's how we start the topic. Um, Tonight we're going to be discussing about bullying, and if you guys go through bullying, like if you're a bully victim, then you guys should tune in and stay tuned. If you're not a bully victim, then of course the thing is you guys should, you know, hmm. Oh, okay, there it goes. But yeah, there might be a little lag on the camera end. But anyway, so tonight, guys, we're going to be talking about bullies and whether you should defend yourself. And if so, we're going to discuss our opinions on what the schools should do about it. Now, the first off, if you're in school, that is one place that bullying usually takes place.
Yeah, main place.
The main place. Second,
Mm-hmm.
that's the top place. The second place after that would be like hangouts or like sacred hangs you guys go to after school, like burger joints, a mall, and I know I'm using a 70s term lingo here, but a sock hop or a soda parlor. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but but bullying can also take place there as well.
Yep.
Now, the one question now when encountering a bully, there are questions you need to ask yourself. One, what you need to prepare for. Now, if you guys go to school with the bully, then you obviously know how a bully works. A bully will constantly harass you, constantly do all kinds of jokes on you
Mm-hmm.
until it gets to the point where you can't take it. The second question is, if he throws a punch, should I defend myself? Now, if you're a bully victim and you take karate or if you take like karate, taekwondo, muay thai, or any type of fighting style, then
Mm-hmm.
the only
Dojo.
time what
Or dojo.
you mean judo?
Judo, yeah.
Yeah. Now I don't normally condone to this, but
But
if
usually
the
people call it dojo.
no, it's called judo, dude.
Well, okay.
All right, don't mean to correct you there, but
Okay.
like I was saying, if you guys are down to a last resort or have no other way of handling the situation, then if he throws a punch, then you have the right to defend yourself. Like what they teach you in each of those classes. They're only used for self-defense. Now, just because you can beat them up, because you know those techniques, doesn't mean you should. Now, example. There are ways you can get out of a confrontation. Firstly, and I'm not saying you should try with this because I know how some bullies are, but firstly, try to reason with them. You know? That don't work, and they still want to pummel you. You step up. That's when you say, you know what? I'm not taking any more BS. The bank's closed. The homework's bank's closed. Get the heck out of my way. But, and I'm not condoning violence, like I said, the only time you should defend yourself is when you think it's necessary or when you think you're put in a tight spot. Ah, crap. Hold on, dude. You take over a bit of speaking. I gotta get some water.
What do you say?
Take over the speaking a bit. I gotta get some water.
Okay.
I don't have to go far. I just gotta... There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
You back?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys. Like I said, with how my throat's been, I gotta have some water to cure it up. Now, back to what I was saying. But, yeah. But, like, there'll be days when you're in school, and you'll get cornered by bullies in a way teachers won't know. Now, again, and using this as an example, if you're in that type of situation, then self-defense is the last resort.
Yeah.
Now, now I can give you guys some incidences where I had to use self-defense. Of course, I wasn't proud of it because I was a big ball of rage, but this was way in the past.
Hmm.
And I bet you my co-host here has some past that he's not proud of. Right?
Yep.
Well, and it's going to involve the whole LGBT bit. And I know how YouTube's strict on that stuff, but it should be okay to talk about as long as we're not putting it down or saying any rude remarks. But
Yeah.
But there was a time when I was in school, and there was this one girl who I knew was a friend of mine, and people assumed she was a, she was switch tracks because she liked other girls.
Mm-hmm.
And what ended up happening was she would get picked on and ridiculed for it, you know?
Yeah.
Well, one day, she was I had her in art class, and she was crying, like, and we had this one history teacher. He was a complete and utter punk, I tell you. I mean, I want to cuss so bad, but I really don't want to get in hot water, so...
Mm-hmm.
And plus,
Yeah,
I'm
you
present.
get in trouble because you get in trouble because the teacher out.
Oh, no, because here's the funny thing. I did manage to get my comeuppance with him. Because here's what happened. The girl that I told you about,
Mm-hmm.
she was failing his class, and she took tests and she got them right, but she kept getting Fs, and it was like, okay,
Really?
yeah. Well, one day, and this was a while back, but her parents asked me to help her out with some of the studies because we had a big history test coming up, and she was way behind. And this test counted for like a good percentage of our grades. Well, what ended up happening was I went over to her place and I helped her study her head off. And before you all crack a jokes, no, we didn't literally study our heads off. Still got them. But what ended up happening was We stayed up till the crack of dawn, and we took practice exams. We did everything we could. So the day came for the test, and we was both nailing the answers. Well, what happened was after class, she came out crying because she said she got an F, and I was like, "That's impossible. We studied, you know." So I looked at her answers, and they matched with mine. So I told her, to just go outside, get some air, and and I'd talk to the teacher, which I did. And this guy, excuse me, guys, I need to lock my door. Uh, First off, I need to get a new lock anyway, because people could barge in during a live stream. But anyway, this guy, this teacher I had, he was a rude mother chicken. Like he was a rude mother chicken. He was a sexist. Like if there was anyone in his class he didn't like, then he would just freaking flunk them. But this girl I was telling you about, dude. But like I was saying, but this girl, she was constantly flunking his class. So I confronted him about the test. I showed him my test, and then I showed him her test. And I was like, why did she get a failing grade? He got all huffy with me and said, that's none of your concern. I was like, it is my concern, because I helped her study. I helped her study her head off. She had every right answer. So you want to start talking? And I was getting mad. I was getting mad. So sorry, guys. So I was getting mad, and finally he came out and said it. He said it straight up. I don't like lesbians.
But that's just bullshit.
I know. And I looked at him and I was like, "Oh, so you're flunking her because you're a sexist son of a gun?" And you know what I mean by son of a. I'm gonna try to keep it censored here. And
yeah, he don't like gays and lesbians. Basically.
Pretty much that's what he said. So I got PO'd. Like I looked at him and I was like, "Oh, so you're saying if this was a class of all girls, you're just gonna automatically pass them because they're straight as an arrow?" And he got and there were a couple female teachers outside the door listening to me yelling at him. And finally, he got in my face and he's like, "Kid, her grade is final, and there's nothing you can do about it." And he got in my face, and oh, dude, but yeah, my dad and I had a rule: if someone gets in our face, then you better be ready for heck and high water. Cause what happened was the teacher was poking his finger in my chest, and he practically shoved me. Like he gave me a hard push and he shoved me. So what ended up happening was I told him not to do that, and he got in my face and did it again. He goes, "Don't do what? Don't do that." And I was getting steamed, And basically what I ended up doing was he went to push me again, and this time I practically grabbed his arm, flipped him over my shoulder, and slammed him into a desk. Yeah. And then what worse is he got back up to throw a punch. What I did was you ever seen those martial arts movies where when one of the guys takes the belt from the guy and then his pants come down?
Yeah.
I pretty much did that to him and tied him up. Yeah. And basically the whole fight got caught on camera. So what ended up happening was I tapped into the bed. Here's what I did. Since I knew what he was, since after I did all that, I went to the school counselor, and I told him what went down. And he said, "You're lucky." And he said, "You're lucky that teacher didn't murder you." I was like, "And I dealt with worse crap in other schools. Why not here?" So what ended up happening was the counselor even looked at the history paper, and what he ended up doing was going to the system, and he freaking fixed her test. Like, she got passing grades.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but here's what happened, though. The next day, the principal the principal, the teacher went to the principal's office after he got out of his quote unquote sticky situation. I was in the principal's office and I told her what went down.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me, well, that was no excuse. I said, he made the first move. Well, the funny thing is, a female superintendent who happened to be the same thing as as the girl that I protected was, found out about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she got the tape and everything because apparently the counselor sent the tape to her.
Mm.
So when the principal saw the tape, they saw that I was in the right to defend the girl, even though I did go too far and could have gotten pretty much arrested for assault and battery. But I ended up protecting her, and they decided to brush past it. Like, they suspended me for 3 days for fighting. But,
Bro, that's stupid.
well, no, but here's the funny thing. Since the principal, that was going to be the punishment, because that's the school rules. You get into a fight with a teacher, that's the punishment. However,
Yeah.
since the principal saw that I was in the right because I was self-defense, he
Mm-hmm.
let me off with 3 days of detention.
The principal got detention.
No, he gave me three
Did he
days of
just?
detention.
Oh dang.
So I was okay, you know. So as long and you know, but she got her grade up, which was a good thing. Teacher lost his job because he provoked me pretty much into fighting. So,
Mm. Brad, he deserved to get fired for that.
well, yeah, but I pretty much blame myself because I let my anger get the better of me instead of taking the easy route. Because what I should have done was went to the principal, yes, but standing up for what I believed in was one thing.
Uh-huh.
But, however, and to all you viewers watching and listening, I do not condone violence, okay? I would say, like, use violence as a last resort. So, like, if you're in a school hallway and you're cornered by a bully and he's trying to corner you for homework or lunch money or anything like that, don't give it to him. That's what I would say. Tell him you're not going to do it. And if he throws a punch, whatever you have, use as self-defense. Good example.
Mm-hmm.
Good example. I had a buddy of mine. What happened was he was getting bullied constantly. So what he did was he put metal in his backpack, like you know those trays that servers carry that are made of metal.
Yep.
He put one of those in his bag, and when the bully went to punch him, pretty much the bully ended up breaking his fist on it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The bully put the metal in it.
No, no, my friend put the metal in the bag, and when the bully
Oh,
went to
okay.
punch him, he put the bag up in defense to block it from the punch, and he ended up
Mm-hmm.
breaking his fist.
Ouch.
I know, but here's the thing, though. The principal wanted to suspend him, but
Mm-hmm.
when they saw the video footage that he didn't even do nothing, all he did was put his backpack up. That's all he did. They didn't check the backpack, nothing.
That's lucky him.
Yeah. So, ergo, my friend was in the right for self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
Because nowadays, bullies can push bully victims so far that the bully victims will want to bring a firearm to school.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen that one Tyler Perry TV show, Meet the Browns?
Yeah.
Okay, remember the one episode when a bully pushed a kid who was bigger in size a lot,
Yep.
and he brought a firearm to school to prove a point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now to all you guys who are bully victims, don't go that far. That's one thing I'm gonna say. Do not go that far.
Yep.
Because that can get you some hard time in prison. And believe me, that's the last thing you need.
Yep.
The best thing you guys need to do is you need to first off you need to use self-defense. But you need to use the only two weapons that you have, and that's these right here. Your own hands.
True.
Because believe me, I know about bullies, guys, and they can go too far. I mean, you're talking to someone who's been bullied a lot,
Yeah.
even in a physical way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the worst way possible, try being tripped so many times that you ram your head into a locker.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I did have a bump or anything, but when I go for my doctor's visits, they're surprised I don't have any concussions or contusions.
Mm-hmm.
All I did was put ice on it, and the swelling went down, and I was a-okay.
That's nice.
All right. Now let's hear
Yeah.
our co-host's side of things.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
before you start your story, now add those two examples for self-defense.
You are.
Now that's exactly the point. Because you guys, just letting you guys know, viewers, before he starts, and again, I do apologize for interrupting, but basically, you should have a right to self-defense if you're put in that position.
Mm-hmm.
No, but like I said, the only time you use self-defense is a last resort. Like if a bully is provoking you so much that you have no other way. Now, I'm not going around saying it's okay to fight or break someone's ribs or break anything. I'm saying that if you fight, first off, don't break anything. If anything, you want to go for pressure points. Pressure points, like in the arms or the legs, those can slow a bully down, but it depends on which pressure point you hit.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it like acupuncture. People say acupuncture helps out with your body's chi. Okay? If that chi is somewhat blocked, then it's like stress. Too much of it can really can have you pushing up daisies.
Yep.
Alright. Now, anyway, as I was saying, go ahead, bud.
I can say my side of the story.
Go right ahead.
Yeah. I was a target. When I was in school, I used to be a target to the bully.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a target to different bullies in my whole school year. Cause, let's see how to say this. Yeah, because
You were different.
yeah, I was different. Like I was a special ed student.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd be picked on a lot for being a special ed student. My whole school year. My whole school year, I was like that, which just sucks.
I can understand that.
Yep. But then one time when I was in middle school, actually no, when I was in elementary, middle school, there was two there are two persons that has the same name as me, and they keep making fun of my last. They call me by my last name, which it really upsets me a lot. They pick on me by calling me by my last name because there's two of us that has the same name, and it really upsets me a lot. I don't like to be called by my last name a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah, but my elementary and middle school, the two of my persons that has the same name as me.
First and last.
Yep, first and last. Yep.
All right. Continue.
And then on my sixth grade, and I'm beginning my middle school year, this guy bullies me, asking for $1, and I said no, and he just ignored me, and he keeps asking me that every single day of my whole middle school year, my whole middle school year,
Mm-hmm.
asked me for $1. Like, no, I don't have $1.
Just hey, if you're starting to get mad, dude, just breathe a bit.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm trying not to, man.
Just breathe.
I'm breathing. I'm breathing.
All right. Continue.
I'm breathing. Yeah. But and then in my high school year, I still get picked on for being a special ed student.
Mm,
But then in math class, I was about my own business, and this kid looked at me and made me push me. Like, what the hell? And
mm-hmm.
then and then and then I got a little upset that my and I told my friend about it, which he knows him, and he got him for me.
Mm.
And I told him not to do it again.
Mm.
So
And then
yeah.
and then what happened again?
And then he just stopped doing it again.
And was there a time you needed to defend yourself that you decided to?
Yeah, I did tell my teacher about it, and he got him for me. She got him for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, but there are some schools nowadays that um the principal favors for the jocks or the popular cliques.
Hmm.
You like, and I don't know if you heard this news, but there was a brother and a sister that attended the same school. A jock was sexually harassing the sister, so the brother stood up for her. Like, he gripped his wrist and he didn't do nothing. All he did was grip his wrist and twist it and said, "Hey, leave my sister alone." Well, the principal favored for the jocks, and the brother got a record, and he was a perfect student.
Hmm.
Which, for one thing, with all due respect, I do think that that principal should have had his head examined, because if I was like that brother, I would have just lost it. Like, if he would have sided with the jock instead of me, if
Hmm.
someone was sexually harassing my sister, I would have laid both of them out. Like, I would have laid out the jock first, and if the principal would have said something about it, I would have laid him out. But that was
Hmm.
them. But because I think some schools like that just want to protect their academics. That's what I think.
Hmm.
Because think about it. The principals sometimes don't do their jobs because who gets in trouble mainly sometimes? The popular players.
Yep.
And then if the popular player goes, then the whole team's screwed.
Yeah.
Which I think is bullcrap.
Hmm.
Because
Got that right.
because A, if a jock is gonna go around and do that, be all, oh, I'm all untouchable. Yeah, he's gonna think that until somebody lays him out. Or to bring up the TV show reference of Meet the Browns, push someone so
Yep.
far that they're gonna bring weaponry to school. which again is ridiculous.
Yeah, you got that right.
I mean, there are even schools that don't do jack with bullies. And the worst bullies of them all, and I'm not going to say this, but out of students and teachers, there are also bus driver bullies, which I deliberately cannot stand. Because did you hear about the one news report about the bus driver who trapped a bunch of elementary school kids on a bus?
Yep.
And apparently they were misbehaving, but when it was time for them to get off, he wouldn't let them off.
Yep.
Okay, most of those kids were traumatized that they wouldn't ride the bus again. But no, basically, which I find ridiculous. Let me get a drink of water real quick. That's better. But what I find was ridiculous was that they put him on leave. Meaning after his leave is up, he can come back. Which I don't know if that school was smoking catnip or out of Moby Dick's bong, but I'll tell you, I would have looked at the school board and said, yeah, either this guy gets fired or my kids are transferring.
Yeah.
Because think about it this way, because there were some parents that wanted to beat the crap out of that guy. Now, put yourself in the parents' shoes. If you were in the same situation where your kids are all trapped on the bus and you're trying to pry the door open just to get them, wouldn't you be mad too?
Yeah.
Okay. And seriously, there are some schools that I think they need to straighten up and fly right and get some stuff fixed. Because it's like with jocks, they can easily get away with everything. And I think that that's ridiculous. Now the biggest pet peeve sometimes is the location. Now, as I explained to you guys in the beginning of the video, there are locations where bullies will strike. So, like, if you're at an arcade or at school, at a mall, or at a sock hop and a soda parlor, which, again, sorry if I'm using 70s references, but bullies will pop up anywhere. But there was one time in my past, this one bully I remember pretty much.
Oh, wait. They need to hear about my friend, too.
Yeah.
My friend...
Oh.
What do you say?
I was going to say, I can let you go ahead first, then you can go.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Sorry, you go
I'll go
first, then
first.
I'll go. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that.
It's alright.
Yeah, but anyway, my friend got picked on, too, for being a special ed student as well. He has no friends, but worse, he likes to be people call him the R word, and it really upsets him a lot. But every time he hears that word, he goes berserk, because he don't want to hear that word.
Wow.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. Well, you know what I'm talking about, the R word.
Yeah, I know.
For special ed students.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And let me guess, and I'm going to take a wild guess. I'm going to say somebody called him that, he went off the deep end, pretty much almost put him in the hospital.
He was about to, but don't want to get in trouble.
Hey. Out of all honesty, if some bullies need to learn by getting a few broken bones, then let them. That's what I would say. I mean, because there are schools where if the jocks go too far, Some schools will just look past it because they're protecting their academics, while other schools will do something about it.
Mhm.
Now, I'll be honest with you. If there were if I was at school where a jock was picking on someone, believe you and me both, I would have stepped up 3 ways to Sunday.
Yep.
Oh, but yeah, but like I was telling you, there was this one time in school. Oh, but
Wait. Yeah, but at one time, when he during the summer camp, that person called him that word because he don't want to swim, and he stood up for himself and said he don't like to hear that word. And the kid got scared. He turned around and he ran into a wall by mistake.
wow.
And then everybody at the bus moved the back of the bus because they're afraid of him.
Wait, because the one kid ran into a wall and they thought he knocked him out.
Yep.
No, but the worst. Oh, but there was one incident in my school. I was at lunch one time and I was sitting with some cheerleaders, and I was kind
Mhm.
of the popular cat, you know. I mean, because these cheerleaders were my
Mhm.
friends, and there was this one guy that didn't like me for sitting there. And so what he did was he had one of his boys take one of my sandwiches, and he pretty much put worms in it.
What?
Yeah, yeah, he literally put worms in it. So what I ended up doing was I pulled the old Looney Tunes switch, I swapped it, or I think it was like the Three Stooges that did before the Looney Tunes, but I swapped his play with mine. He swapped it back. I swapped it with his again. He swapped it back when I wasn't paying attention. Finally, I clacked the plates like making him think I swapped it, and then he swapped it back. But what he didn't know
You
was he gave me his sandwich instead of the worm sandwich. He went over
mhm.
to the table and was chowing down as I acted like I was choking on
Oh,
worms.
you clocked the plate. You said
What?
you said you did what to the plate?
I clacked the plates. Like, you know how in some cartoons where they clack the plates and make people think they swapped them?
Yeah,
So,
like Looney Tunes style. Yeah,
yeah, he swapped them back, and then he took the
just
sandwich
like
with
yeah, basically just like rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, duck season,
duck
rabbit
season,
season,
rabbit season,
duck season.
fire. Yeah, it
And he
was
says
like that.
rabbit season.
Yeah,
No,
it
no,
was
that
like, yeah, it
rabbit
was kind
season,
of,
duck season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, duck season, duck season, rabbit season, duck
duck
season,
season,
fire.
fire. Yeah, that I remember that quote. But yeah,
Yeah,
but basically he took the
the
worm sandwich.
classic.
Yeah,
Never
but
gets
basic,
old.
yeah, but basically he took the worm sandwich and went to his table. So what I did was I took a big bite, and what I did was I made a worm out of chewed food, and I acted like it was a worm, and I acted like I was gagging while he was sitting over there laughing and celebrating. He ate the real worm sandwich whole. Like, he didn't even think about it. He ate the whole sandwich whole, and then all of a sudden, when he realized what he ate, he passed out.
Damn.
Yeah, basically, he had to get his stomach pumped. But basically,
Ouch.
yeah. So basically, I went in to give him a get well card, and I said, and I wrote, "Payback's a mother chicken, ain't it?" Yeah, it was funny as hell. It was funny as hell though, because right when I left, he was yelling threats at me, and the nurse heard him. Basically, he was still in the resting wing. The nurse literally thought he lost his mind because um, I think back then they had those special pins with the trick ink that the writing will disappear and then replace it with something nice. I think because when he showed the nurse the card, she thought he was losing his mind.
Hmm.
So after he got well, he threatened that he was going to hunt me down like the rabid dog I am and put me out of my misery. Well, the nurse thought he
Hmm.
wasn't well, so she called the mental ward.
Hmm. Oh, by the way, sorry about that. I didn't mean to say rabbit season first. I meant to say duck season first.
Yeah, I understand. I knew what you meant though.
Yeah.
But yeah, but basically, he ended up in the not the fraternity ward. What the hell was I thinking there? He ended up in the mental hospital, but he ended up in the wrong mental hospital.
Damn.
Well, let's just put it this way: he was kind of bait to Big Bubba. Yeah. Last time I saw him, I waddled him like a penguin, and I think you can guess why on that occasion.
Why is that?
Think.
Oh, I know why now.
Yeah. And he couldn't even sit down for 2 months in school. He had to stand stand up. He had to stand straight, and he was waddling like a penguin.
Dang.
Yeah. And I even told him, I said, "Payback's a mother chicken." He switched his ways after that. Even though after that process at the mental hospital or the mental ward or whatever you want to call it,
Hmm.
he pretty much he had to be cleansed out pretty much.
Dang.
I know. I felt bad for him. I mean, I even apologized, but he shouldn't have picked on me by trying to give me a warm sandwich.
Yeah, you got
And
that right.
but here's the funny thing. I went to give him a pack of gummy worms from one of my lunches because I packed a lunch. I went to give him a pack of gummy worms, and when he saw him, he took off running because he relived the whole memory. I was like, "What I do?"
Damn.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, like I said, there are sometimes I think bullies deserve their comeuppance, but there are other times I don't think. Like,
Hmm.
like example, female bullies. Okay, there are female bullies that'll pick on people to a certain extent, but when they realize they're going too far, they know exactly when to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's. Hold on a sec. You do a bit of chatting while I answer the door, okay?
Okay, sure. But yeah, female bullies are way worse than male bullies because how do I say this? Because females are much stronger than males. So yeah, I got picked on one time by a female. My whole school year got picked on by a female. Even that one time that female creeped on me by knowing my secret. Hello?
Uh, I'm back. I'm back.
So yeah, this one time I got picked on by a female because I into nerd stuff in high school. And so one time when I went to the bathroom, because I don't went to the bathroom, this one female think I was playing DS in the bathroom for that long. So because basically the teacher knows what's taking me so long, and it's not really my business. I told the teacher not really my business, so I really did play my DS in the bathroom for that long because I was bored.
Well, yeah, and also you was also doing your business as well.
Yeah.
That's understandable. I mean, there are people that'll take a comic book or something while they're, you know, I mean, like
In
I
a
read
public
like
in a
newspapers,
public
comic books.
bathroom.
Yeah, yeah, there are
Like you
people that
what?
do that. Like there are people that do stuff like that to keep their mind occupied while they're using the facility. Like they read
Mhm.
newspapers, they read comics, they read everything.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
but anyway, continue.
So yeah, this girl came up to me and said, "I got your secret. I got your secret." What are you talking about? That you were playing your Game Boy in the bathroom. So that is your secret. And I told her I wasn't playing my Game Boy in the bathroom. I was just not feeling so well. And she took it the wrong way. But here's the funny part though,
What?
one time when I was taking a nap in the classroom, this girl said, "I got a secret," and I woke up and I actually hit her head with my head.
So you're saying like it was the whole Naruto thing when Naruto accidentally kisses Sasuke and they both hit heads?
Basically like that.
Sorry, I don't mean to use the weird anime analogy. I just, trying to put up the good train of thought there.
Yeah, it's okay, man.
But
And so
yeah,
yeah, my head went.
oh,
So yeah, my head hurts too, though. My head was hurting too when she scared me.
well, I can understand that.
Yeah.
The worst type of female bully I had to put up with when I was younger. I used to go to a different school, and it was like a different town school.
Uh-huh.
And what ended up happening was, um, I went. My dad had a girlfriend at the time, and she had two
Hmm.
daughters, and we went to the same school. There was a time where I had to stay. They had to stay after school because apparently a teacher, quote unquote, wrote them a note saying to meet, shower, and meet them after class. Well,
Hmm.
I mean, like they left the note in my they left their note at their locker, like but it wasn't all the way in their locker. Like it was like partially out. I looked at the note and I noticed something was off. Well,
Dang.
yeah, I went to the gym to figure it out, and then I finally put the pieces together. It was all a prank. So I go in there and I see a bunch of jocks prying the girls' locker room door open. And it turns out the cheerleaders had my dad's ex girlfriend's daughter's stuff. Like, all their clothes, their personal belongings, stuff
Hmm.
like that. Well, I told them that they need to leave them alone, pretty much, because they was trying to publicly, they was trying to exhibitionize them. And you know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
Well, I get mad, and I told the jocks they need to back the truck up. And they all pummeled me to a pulp. Like, they had me beaten to the point where I was on hardwood floor bleeding.
Damn.
Well, I heard the girl scream, and the next thing I know, my mind went completely blank. Like, you know how when Naruto goes like the Nine Tails form without even thinking it?
Yeah.
Well, with me, try taking that times 10.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
What ended up happening was I fought through the jocks. I literally almost broke arms, broke legs, because back then my anger was so out of it. And and I couldn't even believe it because after went through them, I walked towards the cheerleaders. Now the head cheerleader, she was a she was so evil that if a dog looked at her, you could see the freaking devil. Like the dog would be barking up a storm.
Hmm.
Well, what she did was she took their personal belongings out of her bag and picked on them for being quote unquote washboards, I believe they were called. You know,
Hmm.
and I even told her I was like, look, you can hand me back this stuff the easy way, or we could do this the hard way. And then she looked at me, and you know the term scrawny spit, F bomb, pretty much.
Yup.
Well, what ended up happening was she called me that. I had a pair of scissors in my backpack, side pocket, and I literally cut her uniform. I didn't know if it was the school's, I didn't know if it was hers, but I cut it clean in half up the middle, cutting her undergarments as well.
What?
Yeah, she left me no choice. Like, she picked on my family. I did it in self defense. I wasn't even thinking. Like I said, I was full of
Who's
anger.
a she?
What?
Who's she?
The cheerleader.
Oh, she put on your family?
Yeah. So what
What do
ended up,
you remember?
well, what I do remember was that when I snapped
Was
out
your
of it,
butt, I'm guessing?
what?
She picked on your butt, I'm guessing?
No, she picked on the my dad's ex girlfriend's daughters at the time, and
Oh,
then
dang.
yeah, and then basically after I snapped out of it, I remembered what happened, and I picked up their bags and I said, and I looked at her as she was covering up. I said, next time you wanna pick on someone for being a washboard, go down to Louisiana because I'm sure they're looking for someone to wash their clothes. And I left. Like I gave the girls their backpacks. Once everyone was out of the gym, I gave the girls their bags back. They got dressed and we left. Like completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the next day at school though, I had to put up with the principal because apparently I almost put some of their star players in the hospital, pretty much.
Ouch.
Well, I had no choice, dude. I mean, like I said, I reacted on self-defense. And there was nobody
Yep.
else there and there was nobody else there at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to call the police because it would have gotten them involved, and then after that, they would have probably gave some bogus charges, you know. So I did the only thing that was necessary, and I stepped up.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what else to do, so pretty much, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I did. But when the principal found out about what happened, they would. I mean, like my dad's ex girlfriend's daughter stuck up for me. They said that they were being assaulted. They were almost publicly humiliated, forced to walk home without anything. And if it wasn't for me, that's what would have happened. And the
Dang.
principal lectured them, and he was about ready to call them. What was that one word? It starts with an H.
Mm-hmm.
Is what you don't call a female.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. He was about to call him that. I literally lost my anger and I slammed my fist into the desk, almost putting a hole in it. And I said, "You might want to choose your next words very carefully."
Yeah, true.
I mean, like, I was still on the edge of what happened. Like, I was covered in injuries and everything, and I literally could have just lost my crap. Like, literally.
Yep.
And then, but,
Mm-hmm.
but the point of that story was I did react on self defense, even though the self defense went a little too far. So,
Yep, true.
but after I did, after I did get out of that school and moved, I
Mm-hmm.
basically went to see a therapist, pretty much. And
Yep.
so when they found out about everything, pretty much that was the same deal.
Damn.
I mean, I never after that I never lost my anger as much. Now, if somebody got me mad, yeah, I would end up yelling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear God.
What?
Okay, you ever seen Courage the Cowardly Dog, where they have
Yeah.
that girl in the mask?
Oh yeah, the yeah, that episode. What about it?
Well, I just found a character, a player with that for a picture or an emblem.
That dog, yeah.
No, the cat.
Oh no, yeah, the player's a dog. That the pimp is a dog.
No, 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 no.
I know,
Courage.
I know what you're talking about though. Courage the Cowardly Dog is the mask character.
Yeah,
She's
the
not
what?
the enemy though, but the enemy is the dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
No, he's got that whole thing. He's got that emblem where the girl will go, "Dogs are evil," and then beats Courage upside the head.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the characters' names were Kitty and Bunny, I believe.
Bunny, yeah.
Okay, yeah, but we're getting off topic here because this is supposed to be about bullying. So
Yeah, basically, yeah. So basically, the episode reminds you of bullying right there too.
yeah, that's pretty much yeah because in that episode what we described, guys, was when well, well, first off, can you say like undergarments in YouTube videos, or if you're not describing what?
Yeah, you can say it.
Oh, okay, good. Uh, but yeah, but like I was saying, guys, in that episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog, basically the character who was going through a hard knocks life, pretty much, because she lost her friend to a bunch of dogs who bullied her, pretty much.
Hmm.
So she portrayed all dogs as enemies. The point is, bully victims can portray anyone as a bully and then try to defend themselves.
Yeah, true.
But there are some cases where bully victims will go so far that they'll think there's another way out.
Hmm.
And I'm talking a grim way,
Yeah,
which is not the best way to go. So if you guys are a bully
I know.
victim and you guys think that's the only way, it's not. Because
Mhm.
a date with the Grim Reaper is like running away.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, if you want to see this one guy I was telling you about, go into the chat and you'll
Hmm.
see, and I'll show you what I was talking about real quick.
Does one guy say?
Yeah, the one guy with the mask, with the masked character,
Okay, sure. Hold on a second.
because he actually got the freaking, because that dang thing looks like it's staring right at me.
The mask character.
Yeah, you know where the cat's wearing the mask and it has the big purple
Mm-hmm.
eyes, the lips, the nose.
Mm-hmm.
I'll wait till you get into the chat to see it, but But yeah, there are some.
Oh, sorry.
It's alright. Now, do you see
Yeah, I
it?
see it now. Yeah,
It looks freaky and it looks identical.
I know. Creepy.
Yeah. Are you gonna get on a game?
I'm playing the game right now.
Oh, what one? What one? Oh, I was hoping you'd be in the mood for Call of Duty, but I am.
I might play later.
Uh, but yeah, but back to what I was saying though. But like I said, guys, if you guys think a date with the Grim Reaper is the way, it's not. The best thing you should do if a bully keeps provoking you to that point, you need to see professionals. Like
Uh-huh.
I like if you're in a school, you should see your counselor. If you're
Yeah.
or if you're at home or out at the mall, you should talk to your parents about it.
Yep. Or a family member, or a grown family member like your parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents,
Hmm.
older siblings, or older cousins.
Because to be honest, viewers, you're not the only ones that's been through bullying. Everyone goes through that phase.
Mm-hmm.
The best way to handle it is to know how to play your cards.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm going to use an anime reference here, but think of it like a game of Yu-Gi-Oh. You're the monster,
Yes.
your temper's the trap, and your calmness is the magic. Now, there was a one Jackie Chan reference that I always followed. Magic must defeat magic.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? Cause like,
Yep.
cause like the uncle would always go one more thing. It was
You
pretty
sound
funny.
just like him. You sound just like him.
Oh well, I've actually heard it a lot that I know the voice pattern. But anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, and the bully, all he's gonna do is try to get you to trap your trap. So what you want to do is you want to breathe and just know when to walk away.
Mhm.
Now, if you're in a situation where you're in school but there's no one around and a bully picks on you for money or anything, then
Yep.
the best thing you want to do is try to walk away. But if he throws a punch or pummels you, then self defense is a good thing.
Yep.
Like example, if you took if you took science class and you know all the pressure points, the one thing I would
Yep.
recommend is if you take wrestling and you put him in a sleeper hold, only
Mhm.
do it for a point till he's knocked out, but don't do it to a point where he's not breathing.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can say because it's just sleeper holds are pretty good maneuvers to getting out of sticky situations,
Mhm.
but if you overdo it, it could risk someone.
Mhm. Yep.
So before you guys fight, the best thing you want to do is think smart. Don't think reckless.
Yeah, true. Just like that video production project we did back in high school, with a bully, where students play as a bully and the guy plays as a good person, and the bullies push him in the locker, in his locker, push him in the locker and say, "Give me my money," and the both of them starts fighting, and then the good kid punched the bully and says, "Stop the violence at school."
Well, yeah, but yeah, I mean, there are there are some cases where you can even fight a bully even without literally laying a punch.
Mhm.
Like there are pressure points, which is dangerous, but it can be also be a good cover, you know?
Yeah.
Cuz like I had a buddy of mine and he was picked on by bullies a lot. And he told
Really.
me that one day at lunch a bully was picking on a girl. Like he pretty much flipped her tray on her. Like
What?
yeah. So he got mad and went to help her. He grabbed a hold of the guy. The guy grabbed a hold of my friend's wrist, and what he ended up doing
Mhm.
was hit him hard in the pressure point. Like you know how in Avatar: The Last Airbender, when someone uses hits a pressure point, it blocks their chi.
Yep.
Well, my friend knew the pressure points that he made his arm limp, like a limp noodle.
Dang.
Yeah, so the guy couldn't move his arm for the whole school day.
Ouch.
Mm-hmm. Well, what ended up happening was the guy got his boys, and they ended up trying to pick a fight with my friend. And what my friend did was he did the same pressure point techniques, but he got one in the back of the leg, one in a specific area where it can, like in the spine, kinda. And the spine usually brings balance to the whole body.
Mhm.
But by the time the pressure points were recovered, because it takes like the took like the whole school day, he was out of sight. The whole school day was over.
Dang.
Yeah. So my friend knew what he was doing, but there were some cases where I thought he would go overboard.
Mm.
But there was one time though he stuck up for me with that, because like we went to an arcade and there was this one bully that kept taking tokens from kids. Well, he came to me.
What?
Yeah. Well, he came to me and asked me for mine. I told him I didn't have any. So what he did was he went to grab me by my shirt. My friend gripped his wrist and since he knew a bit of tricks, he literally put his whole hand to sleep.
Dang.
I know. So but back to what we were saying, guys, since we're getting a little off topic on bullies. Um
Well, it is part of bullying too, though, what you just said.
yeah. But what I'm saying now those two those two Those two examples I gave you. Now, is it right to use self-defense if you can't find someone around and they leave you no choice? Yeah, pretty much. But
Oh, here's his.
there is a but. If
But
you
what?
do, if you do martial arts, judo, Muay Thai, or any other fighting style, then the best thing you want to do is you do not want to hit them in a point where it could paralyze. Because pressure points can help get out of sticky situations, but it could paralyze the human body depending where you hit.
Hmm.
So that's one warning I'll give you. Oh, welcome to the stream, viewer. Anyway, man, you go ahead.
All right. So yeah, back when I was in high school, my junior year, there's this one girl who likes to pick on all the girls from saying that they're in special ed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, one girl from saying that all the girls shouldn't be in special ed. Yeah, there's one girl, and then that one of the girls said, "Why are you picking on us being special ed? You're a special ed student too." Well, because this is how I feel. And the female bully said, "That's how I feel. Is picking on special ed students. That's how I feel." So yeah, it happens every single day, every single day. Yeah,
Well,
but yeah,
uh,
but then at one time, this girl made fun of my friend's mom for saying that she has one leg.
oh,
So yeah, it upset her. And so I stood up for her and said, "You better leave her alone. Leave her alone, please. Because I don't want to start this or tell the teacher on you. Just leave her alone." That's all I did. I stood up for her.
mm,
Because that's really hurtful right there. Really hurtful.
yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. But then on the final semester, this girl wrote a project article about them for law enforcement about about bullying, about has she ever been bullied.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so she wrote an article about those three girls in my classroom, and that one girl saw it and said, "What the heck? You reporting us? You reporting us?"
So she sounded
And
like.
then that,
Sorry to interrupt. So you're
what you
saying she
say?
sounded like Al Capone? She was like, "Man, she, you're reporting us, she."
Yeah. Yeah, basically like that. Pretty funny though. So,
Hey, I got thrown in a little comedy. Anyway,
yeah, a little
continue.
bit. Yeah, you can say that. But yeah, anyway, yeah, after she said that, the girl got off the computer and just ran out of the class, ran out of the classroom. And the
That's
teacher
it.
called an officer on, and the teacher called an officer on him. Teacher called an officer on her, and an officer came, and it turned out she's gone.
Ooh,
No, no,
wow.
no, actually no. What happened? No, after she X out the assignment, the teacher called an officer on him. The teacher called an officer on her, and then the teacher wants her to sit down at the desk to wait for him. But then a minute later, she just ran out of the classroom.
Maybe she felt bad for what she did.
Yeah, basically, she ran out of the classroom. By the time she ran out of the classroom, the officer came,
Mm.
and the teacher told her that she ran out. But yeah, you
What?
could say that she felt bad for what she did.
Mm. Well, I can tell you one thing though. There was this one time in school.
Wait. Not yet, not yet.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, but the officer went out to look for her, and turned out he found her. She was
Whoa.
she was behind a dumpster, school dumpster,
Mm.
and then she was gonna bring her back to class, but then the bell rang to go home.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was lucky there.
Wow.
And then even the officer told the teacher that he found her and wish he could bring her back to the classroom, but turned out the end of the day bell rang, so he don't want her to miss a bus,
Yeah.
so he could just come clean with her, to have offered a warning. And then after that, she moved to a different school, and they're all happy. They're all really happy. She moved to a different county, and they're really happy about that.
Well, she did feel bad about it. Don't you think it would have been wise that they would have talked to her and tried to just figure out why she did it to begin with?
Yeah, but basically it's her fault though, because she started the whole thing
Well,
first.
I can understand that. I mean, there are some bullies that can be reasoned with.
Hmm.
Well, like me, because when I was in school before, and this was at a different school, but I was at this one school where there were bullies no matter where you go. Well,
Hmm.
there was this one girl, and she was really nice. She was on the cheerleading squad, and I
Yes.
always got picked on because her squad always picked on me. Well, one day
Hmm.
after I was taking a bunch of abuse and bullcrap, she gave me a comic. Like she literally got in her backpack. There was a comic store nearby, but she brought me a comic book to apologize for her squad. And I said,
Okay.
You don't have to apologize for them." Well, the jocks found out about it, and most of the squad was their girlfriends. And
Mm.
basically, the jocks turned her in for apologizing to me for what her squad did.
Oh my
Well,
God.
her squad didn't like that. So what they ended up doing was I was at in my class. I see the squad of the cheerleaders that were supposed to be practicing outside. They had her in her undergarments, giving her a hanging wedgie.
Oh my God.
When I saw this, I nearly lost my temper. I ran outside when they were gone and I cut her down. She was so embarrassed. Well, the jocks saw me and I told them that they needed to back off. And they called her a traitor and a loser.
Oh
And
my God.
I got mad. I yelled at them. I was like, "Is that what you boneheads think? I mean, you guys just want to sit there, call one of your own who is doing the right thing a loser. The only ones that are losers right here are scumbags like you." That's what I said to them. They they got mad at me for saying that, and a couple of them had switchblades at the time on school grounds. They threatened me
Dang.
pretty much, and I was like, "Dude, you want to just put that away, because we both know how this is going to end." Well, one of them tried to stab me pretty much, and I didn't know how, but my body reacted on its own. Like one tried to stab me, I ended up hitting his hand away from me, and he stabbed a tree, getting his switchblade stuck. I then decked him across the face, and his friend tried to stab me as well.
Mm.
And I didn't know how. My body was like on its own instinct. And after I did that, I took both the switchblades, and they were like butterfly knives. I flipped them around, and I didn't even know I could do that. And I
Oh
said,
dang.
and I told him, I was like, "You can walk away, or you can become females, because I won't hold back." They took off running like a bunch of cowards.
Mm.
Now, they did report me to the coach, but what I did was I helped the girl out, and she was embarrassed that because at the time she was wearing I didn't even mean to peek, but she was wearing kid undergarments at the time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I wasn't picking on her, but what I ended up doing was I got her to safety, and she was upset, like she ran into the girls' bathroom crying, and I got mad. So their gym coach of the Jocks showed up, and he started cussing me out for threatening his players and making a couple of
What?
them, yeah, and making a couple of them lose their teeth, pretty much. You know,
Oh my god.
I know, and I was at a disadvantage here because usually the gym coach is the law.
Mm-hmm.
I got mad, and I literally fucking told him. I was like, "Look, your boys attacked a cheerleader. The cheerleaders pretty much gave her hang her out on an exhibitional level, and you're sitting here reprimanding me." And I told him, I was like, "Well, why don't you go in there and keep your little piggies on a leash?" I did what was right on my
Mm-hmm.
end. You got a problem with it? Well, guess what? You can kiss my rear. And I walked off. Now, the one mistake he did make was I had my back turned and he went to throw a punch because I peeved him off pretty bad. What I did was
Mm.
I was heading straight towards a locker. He went to take a punch, and then the next thing I know, I dodged, and he ended up breaking his fist against the locker. Like he put a big hole in the metal locker. He cut up his arm, and then and it was like I did nothing of the sort. Like I didn't fight. All I did was move to deflect the attack. That's all I did.
Damn.
Yeah. So what ended up happening was the gym coach got fired. All the cheerleaders got reprimanded, but all of them were in on the hoax, and they pretty much got detention and were barred and their cheerleading club got banned for a month.
Damn.
Yeah, and the jocks that brought the switchblades to school, they were pretty much arrested.
Ooh.
And you know how that one turned out.
Yeah.
Fresh meat in the prison cell.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Got that right.
But with me, I was pretty much still scared on how my body reacted to the whole incident, you know?
Yeah, true.
So, right when I went home, I questioned my family about it. I told them what happened and everything. They were surprised I wasn't hurt, though. And
Yeah.
I told them what happened. And it was like, I didn't even remember what happened. It was like, when something happened, my mind just went, like, the nine tails took me over. And literally, I was just completely gone.
Damn.
And basically, how my dad explained it was like, sometimes the human body can have like a computer processor, like an internal external fight or flight program.
Yep.
And he said once when your body feels like it's in danger, it pretty much kicks into overdrive and then protects you.
Yep.
So basically, after all that mess, like I said, I did have a temper, but I did get on medication and I did put myself back in order. My
Mm-hmm.
anger didn't go too far though, off the course. But when the
Yep.
therapist, but when I went to see my therapist back then, uh, she said that the reason why my body did what it did was because of how I was raised. You know, like sticking my neck out for a female.
Mm. That's true.
And I didn't want to believe that
Yeah,
at
it didn't grow
first.
out.
Yeah, but I didn't want to believe that first. But I realized that there were some scenarios where it happens. You know, like you can't you can't really just ignore it. You know.
Yep.
But yeah,
True.
but like I said, the examples I gave you guys, I
Oh, wait, wait,
don't.
wait.
Yeah,
Yeah, when you mention cheerleaders and jocks, it reminds me of the movie Radio. You seen that movie?
Yeah,
Yeah, it basically is like that one scene with the athlete try to prank Radio by
yeah,
going in the girls' locker room.
yeah. I remember that.
And then the coach said, "Who told you that? Who told you go in there?"
Yeah, I remember that.
And then right, when Radio cannot tell.
But the coach figured it
Like,
out.
yeah, true. Yeah, he did. And then he suspended the athlete for like a month, I think.
But
I don't know,
then
like a month, I think.
yeah, but then the athlete turned around and did the right thing and apologized.
Yeah, and they became cool. But then the dad wasn't though. His dad wasn't.
What, the athlete's dad?
The athlete's dad, yeah.
Yeah, because I think he was what
Yeah, I don't want to say it though.
but the R word.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know that.
yeah.
But like I said, guys, bullying can go alternate routes. But the choices you make is up to you. But like I said, and I'm only going to say this, the best way to handle it is to either get a teacher or use self-defense. But
I
self-defense
should
should,
get an adult or self-defense.
yeah, but self-defense should only be used as a last resort. But don't stoop to so many levels. Like I said, like the reference I used earlier from Tyler Perry's Meet the Browns. Now, if you guys seen that show where the bully pushed a kid so far that he brought a firearm to school, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because he let his emotions get the better of him, or he let the bully push him too far.
Yep.
Now, if you feel like you're gonna hit that far, get a guidance counselor or talk to your parents and see if
Yeah.
there's some common ground.
Mm-hmm.
Another way you can handle it is if there are no parents around and you got no choice, then self-defense is key. But like I said, if you do pressure points, you don't want to hit too narrow of pressure points, or you don't want to make the pressure points too deep.
Yep. Yep.
So that's the best point you guys want to go on.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not sounding like a broken record, but I am not condoning violence. I am stating that it should only be used as a last resort if necessary, if you guys think it's necessary.
Yeah. Yep, you said it. But here's something you guys need to hear. Did I tell you about these two employees last night?
Yeah, go ahead and bring it up.
Yeah, one time, what happened was those two employees at my job got fired because they got into a fight. And it all started when that one guy was walking to take the trash out. Hold up. But that one time, he saw a lady holding boxes, and she has a hard time opening the door, so she put the trash down on someone's lane to go help the lady out right quick. And after he did that, this guy came all mad. He saw this guy looking at the trash can all mad, looking at the trash bags all mad, saying, "Who put this trash there?" And he calmed down and said, "Sorry about that. It was me. I was helping somebody else open the door." And the guy got ticked off, and he said, "You put it there?" "Yeah, I'm just helping somebody else out." "Why would you put it there?" "Listen, I'm just trying to help somebody else out to open the door." because she was having a hard time carrying the opening door with all these boxes in her hands. So please chill. And the guy said, "You trying to help somebody else and you put the trash bag in my lane?" "Yeah, just for 1 second." And the guy said, "You know what?" And the other guy and the good guy said, Dude, chill, please. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put in your lane. I'm just trying to help somebody else out." And the mean guy said, "Don't tell me to chill." So he pushed the guy, and the guy, which is scary, but the good guy stood up for himself and got mad. At least, and the bad guy, at least the good guy's bad side. So on his bad side, he came. Bless you.
Thank you.
So on his bad side, he came up to. So basically, the good guy is 5'6", and the bad guy is 6'5". So the funniest part is, the 5'6" guy, after the 6'5" guy pushed the 5'6" guy, the 5'6" guy came up to him, to the 6'5" guy, and slapped him in the face. And then the next day, they explained everything, and the next day they explained everything to the boss, and the boss wouldn't let the 5'6" guy go. Wouldn't keep the 5'6" guy, so they fired both of them. Which is crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. Because there are some jobs nowadays, like you try to help someone, you get your head ripped off.
Yeah.
Cause this happened to me just a while back, but at my job, you know how people mislabel stuff sometimes, right?
Yep.
Well, we had this one elderly customer, and she was over 2 lanes over from me. She got like half a dozen pops, like a half a dozen Mountain Dews and a half a dozen Dr. Peppers, and she thought they were all labeled $1. And basically, she was going to buy all those, and and from what I heard from my manager, she said that she was going to talk to someone about the pop, and apparently the lady lied and said, "Well, CSM said I could have this for $1," when she didn't say that, because our job's pricing policy. You buy one for that price, but the rest are regular. Because, like I said, they were mislabeled. So if one was $1, the other would be $1.85 or something. I forget. But she got all huffy because she gets the lane and she starts cussing up a storm at one of our employees. And I know this employee. She was a calm, level-headed. But this woman, she was just cussing up a storm. And literally, it got to the point where she was cussing out the manager. I was like, really, lady, you're doing all this because I was thinking, and this is what I was thinking. I didn't want to say it, but I was just thinking it. I was like, okay, lady, you're about ready to have angeria because you want to get popped for a cheaper deal. It's kind of childish right there. So, but she started cussing out the manager like crazy, and she was dropping all kinds of wording that I'm not even going to repeat. So, I'm sitting there and I'm watching as everyone talking, and she was talking and talking. Cause she was running more mouth than Foghorn Leghorn. And you know who I'm talking about by Foghorn Leghorn, right?
Yeah.
The guy that keeps going, but I say you need to think with your brain and bury the hatchet, but not in someone's skull, you see.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Well, but anyway, so she started getting all worked up. She ended up finally getting her purchase and left. But after she left, she was telling all of us that, well, all of y'all are going to lose your jobs, blah, 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 blah. I'm taking this to corporate, blah, 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 blah. I I literally just wanted to look. I was thankful she wasn't in my lane because
Uh-huh.
if she would have said that crap to me, I would have came unglued. I mean, like, here's what I would have done. I would have checked all of her pops, tallied up the total, and said, "Is there anything else I can get for you, ma'am? Like a slippers and a pipe, maybe, or maybe a new pair of knickers because you're having angorrhea." Yeah, and if she would have said, "Excuse me," I would have been like, "No, excuse me. You're pretty much getting bent out of shape because you're acting like a child because you want pop that you can't get that was mislabeled. So you're gonna lie saying our manager said this when you're full of BS. You know, we have a bullpen that has shit in it, and
Mm-hmm.
you're and pretty much what you're spewing is thicker than that.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, but when she left, I was fuming mad because she was sitting there threatening us, saying, "Oh, well, we're gonna lose all of our jobs because she's gonna report us to corporate and stuff." It was like, are you kidding me? I mean, she gets her undergarments in a bit of a tight because she wants pop for a cheaper deal, and we can only sell her one for that cheaper deal, and then the rest for $1.85.
Yeah.
I'd be thankful she wasn't in my lane because if I would have snapped my cap, I would have lost my job for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, but yeah, like I was saying, uh, but yeah, if you guys do work with people that are bullies, turn the other cheek because people will provoke you to the point where you'll want to quit or get fired, or they'll just try to get you fired.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had it at a couple jobs, and I bet my co-host here had it at a couple jobs as well. So everyone can get like that pretty much.
Yep.
You just gotta know how to take the bearings, stay strong, stay wise, and keep up.
Yep.
Now, to get to the end point of this, the proper steps of self defense. Well, not proper steps of self defense. Where's my brain at? The proper order of things. First off, if you're fighting a student or a teacher, first off, student versus student, should you have a right to defend yourself if no one's around? If that's the only option you have left, yes. But if there's a place you can go after you defend yourself a bit, then go to it. As in, don't let the bullies push you around. Go to where you need to go and get out of there. Now,
Yep.
if it was a teacher, which some of the times I think between the male and female ratio of teachers, if it's a female student versus a female teacher, if the teacher made the first move, then yes, I believe the female student should have a right to defend herself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it was a male student and a male teacher, same thing. I believe the male student should defend himself from the teacher. But if
Mm-hmm.
it was a mixed mesh, because of how the laws work, female female student can defend herself against a male teacher. Male student cannot defend himself from a female teacher.
Yep.
So the best thing is if you're a male and you do get bullied by a female teacher, best thing I would tell you is just take your lumps and then turn it into the police.
Yep.
Yeah, and while we're on the subject of bullying, another type of bullying I think is reckless would be taking people's stuff and breaking it.
Yeah.
while we're on that topic, let's go ahead and open that can of worms, shall we?
Yeah, before we get there, hey guys, tell me how you react when a 5'6" guy slapped a 6'5" guy. Like,
Yeah,
which
some
that's impossible.
yeah, some people will probably think that's highly illogical because of the height.
Yeah. And pretty
But
sure the tall guy was embarrassed about that.
mhm,
Don't you agree?
probably. But anyway, if you guys want to tell your reaction about that, comment in that video down below and make sure you tell us.
Alrighty. Yep. So continue.
Had to get some water.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. But the next topic for the bullying subject is breaking stuff that belongs to a student, a kid, pretty much anything on that ratio.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you guys seen YouTube videos where teachers break stuff in class,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. First off, if a teacher did that to someone else's property, then there's two things that should happen. One, the parents would be notified, and
Mm-hmm.
two, it is considered destruction of property where the student can press charges.
Yeah. Happened to me one time, almost, where I was playing my DS in the classroom on my study skills class next door. I went to next door to the other study skills class, and then the teacher said, and that, and a different teacher said, everybody get in the seats. And because I was showing the guys, showing the next door classes my DSs, and they're watching my DS. They're watching my DS. They're watching my DS, and the coach said, everybody get in the seat. And so I quickly ran back to my classroom and he said, I do not want to see that, and took my DS and tried to break it. And I said, please don't. I'll put it up. And he said, here you go, but it's a warning though. I'll break it next time. So I went back
Yeah,
to my classroom and went back to my original classroom. He said, and the other teacher said, I'll put up about you before it get things worse. Cause my teacher let me to play, lets me play it though, but it turned out it's a bad idea.
yeah. Actually, I've seen enough YouTube videos where I think some teachers need to be fired. Like there was one YouTube video, and if you guys seen this one, let me know in the comments below and tell me what your opinion is on this. But there was a one thing where a kid got a text message from his parents in class. So he went to respond, letting his parents know he was in class so he could shut off his phone. What ended up happening
Yeah,
was the teacher grabbed the kid's flip phone and broke it in two like it was a toothpick. Like he broke it in two and then took it up to his desk and then shoved it in a glass of water.
damn.
Yeah, no kidding. And I'm thinking, what the heck? I think the student should have just went up there and uppercut the teacher. But however, when they showed him getting up in the video, they pretty much, they pretty much, it pretty much showed him leaving the classroom, which I'm pretty sure that teacher got fired.
Mhm.
But, however, the thing is, that is considered bullying on a whole different scale.
Yep.
Because, put it this way, if a parent sits a kid in front of his Xbox One or anything like that, and then lights it afire, yeah, that's considered bullying in a whole new level. That's actually considered child abuse, and on top of that, can cause trauma.
Yep. True.
And second of all, if people do that, yeah, they either need to be locked up or they need to be in the loony bin for what they did. Or they
Yeah,
should,
true.
or they shouldn't even teach or bear firearms.
Mhm.
Because the thing is, guys, bullying could happen anywhere. And like I said previously, it could happen any
You
place, any hangouts, home, anywhere.
anytime.
Anytime, anywhere, bullying will be there.
Yep, yep.
Cause like I have one friend, and he was bullied because he could. I mean, like he can talk, but there were some days like when he was in a bad mood, like he couldn't talk at all. And
Mm,
his parents told the school that if he gets so mad that he doesn't want to talk, he writes stuff down on a dry erase board.
mhm.
And well, one day, and I remember this, but a teacher, he was trying to talk to a friend of his for a project. A teacher took his dry erase board and, he read out loud what he was trying to say, but apparently he accidentally had a little love note at the bottom of the corner.
Mhm.
After the teacher saw that, he broke the dry erase board in half. My friend left the classroom like he was embarrassed, but he was also angry. And I got mad. I got in the teacher's face and I said, "What's the big idea? That's the only way he can communicate, you know." And he said that he should have been
Mm,
writing love notes. I was like, it was a joke to put on there.
yep.
So the teacher got in my face and he threatened to get me suspended or expelled. And
Dang.
and practically, I told him to try it. Well, what ended up happening was that he pretty much called my family and pretty much said I was threatening him when he was threatening me. So, and this is a funny part. My mom came into the school and she pretty much talked to the teacher. Well, she got my side of the story first. And which I was happy she did because the teacher just lied so bad that if a squirrel came through the window, it would have went down his boxers for an early winter snack. So what ended up
Mhm.
happening was that the principal got a hold of the footage and pretty much found out that my friend's dry erase board got broken. So the principal questioned the teacher about it, and technically he said that he was writing provocative stuff. And I literally
Huh.
snapped. I looked at him and I said, "That's a bull-faced lie, and you know it." And
Mhm.
my mom, she held me back, and the teacher was saying that I was not properly raised, and said I had negligent parents. What ended up happening was when we left, I was so mad. I wanted to get my hands on that teacher and rip him apart. But what happened was the teacher was out of his car and he was waving at me like he got away with something.
Uh
My
huh.
mom lost control. She walked over to his car and she flipped like she ripped him apart.
Mhm.
And the police couldn't arrest her though because what happened was he threatened me, so she reacted and retaliated, and then she called the police. And she told the police out,
Damn.
and she told the police officer who was a female, saying that end quote because the police officer and her were not good friends, but they were kind of acquaintances. But she said the next time he comes near my son again, threatens him the way he did, then he's not going to be a man no more. When I heard that, I was
Mm.
like, oh dear lord,
Not gonna be a man no more.
you know.
Yeah.
Think about it.
I know what you're talking about now.
Okay, but yeah, but like I was saying, guys, sorry if this topic went a little downhill grim almost. But anyway, to get us back uphill, like a roller coaster, you take one slump, but then you go up the next one. But as I was saying, bullying is a big time whole needs to change.
Yep.
Because when you look at it, guys, there are some bullies nowadays who think bullying makes you stronger than anybody else. But it doesn't. It puts
Mm-hmm.
it puts a lot of people at risk. And then it doesn't put only them at risk, but it could put far more guilt than you could ever bear on top of you. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you're a bully, then the best thing you need to do is put that bullying behind you. Because in the long run, it's going to give you nothing but trouble.
Yep. Got that right.
Because believe me, in my school, if you're a bully, the bully victims will take so much for so long, but then they'll come back full force. Like, if you've seen the movie Max Keeble's Big Move,
Yep.
you remember the bullies
Yep.
and what ended up happening.
It's been a while. I've seen that movie.
Basically, the bullies got what they deserved, and they pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah, they pretty much got. Well, they didn't get beaten up, but they got tied up and put in a trash can.
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, it's not. Of course, being the bully or the bullier is not a good thing. While it is true you do get some penance back for it, it's not much.
Yep. Just that one episode in Billy and Mandy
Yeah,
where Billy got bullied by Spurg a lot.
yeah, but then he took Mandy's raw nerve.
Yeah. So he's the man.
Yeah, but that is until Mandy took back the raw nerve.
Yeah.
So, what I'm saying is, even if you guys think bullying could help ease your pain and suffering, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But it can all lead to some places, like cyberbullying. There are some websites where they post all kinds of stuff where it just goes too far. And when it goes too far, you never know if it's going to stop.
Yep, true.
So what I'm saying is, guys, do the right thing. You see someone in your school being bullied, give them a hand. Reach out. And even if it means you got to do what you got to do, even on self-defense side, guess what? You're doing what you think is right.
Yep.
If there are any teachers that say that, and if you're at a school where the teachers won't do their job or the principal won't do their job, or the teachers flat out sometimes are just being stuck up that they're smoking from Moby Dick's bong, then you do what you think is right. And if necessary, go to the police.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was one school I remember reading about where, and this was what ticked me off, a special ed kid was getting bullied a lot. I think I said about this earlier. But the school gave out iPads pretty much. And what ended up happening was the kid kept getting bullied and bullied, but teachers wouldn't do nothing because they wouldn't believe him. So what he ended up doing was he got evidence through the iPad, which was smart. But when he presented the evidence to his family, he also presented it to the family presented them for wiretapping.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, which I thought was pretty much bull. Because,
Tell
and
me
comment
about
down
it.
below if you guys think this, but all iPads or stuff nowadays come with recording software. So how
Yep.
is it? So how is it wiretapping if he's getting proof that he's getting picked on, but yet the principal goes around and press charges on them for quote unquote wiretapping when he had the proof that he was picked on, but the principal was so busy smoking Moby Dick's bong that he didn't do his job right.
Oh no, man.
Well, like I said, I don't mean to sound like I'm getting mad or touchy on the subject, but
I understand, man. I
it just
understand.
it just brings my blood to a boil. It gets me so
I feel
fused
you,
right
man.
now. It gets me so infuriated and fused that people that think that just because they got a job, that they're like there are some schools that where people think, oh hey, I got the job, I can just smoke pot and do what I want, when really they're supposed to be paying attention to the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, as much as I want to get started in and just start treading my thoughts where it rip a clean line in someone's head, thinking maybe this kid's got a point. We gotta do something. And you know there are some schools that actually ban graphic novels,
Yeah.
which, to be honest, I think it's ridiculous. While granted, there are some graphic novels that are TVMA or need to be mature,
Yep.
I still don't think that's a reason to just delete them. Can't even speak right. Just ban them from the school libraries.
True. Got that right.
But, however, I just still say that with how bullying is nowadays, it can be whether cyber or it could be whether anything nowadays.
What was I? Yep, true.
I mean, it's like what was that one movie called? Ah, crap. Where some people say if you step on an ant or something in the past, it can alternate the future.
Yep.
I think it's called the ah crap. What was it? I think it was called like the butterfly effect or something.
Yep. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because some people say a choice in the past can also alternate the future,
Mm-hmm.
and some people actually believe that. To be honest, I'm not saying it's not true, and I'm not saying I don't believe it,
Yeah.
but as I said, if you guys want to alternate that butterfly effect, then you need to make the right choice. So if you guys see a bully, you need to step up. whether it's during school hours or after school hours. You go to your families. You go to your parents. You go to anybody you know. But if it gets so bad that you need the police involved, do so. Don't just let it go on and on until someone wants to just, you know, until someone gets picked on so bad that they just want to meet with the Grim Reaper and think that's the only way.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are people that think that's the only way out. But there's another way. Like, if anyone out there you know is being a bully victim, be a friend. If a bully's picking on them, you step up. You don't just back down.
Stop bullying, speak up.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And even though speaking up sometimes doesn't work, there's always the alternative, self-defense. But unless it's the last resort you can do.
Okay. True.
Anyway, now that we squashed that topic off the bug, let's set up. Let's get into the topic about opinions or what can be done to help stop bullying. Firstly, parents. If your parents and you think your kid's bullied, talk to them. Make sure that they're doing okay. Or, if there's a bully problem, bring it up to the school and then have the school tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Teachers. Now, this goes to teachers who actually do their job. If you guys monitor bullying, be sure to bring it to the principal's attention. Or try to intervene and help someone. Now, if you're a principal, and to the teachers who are at schools that don't do their job, like the principal doesn't do their jobs, do your jobs. The principals at those schools, if they're too busy smoking catnip and weed out of Moby Dick's bong, then let them. They get fired. It's on their head.
Yep. You got that right.
Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, and of course, to all people who are both bully victims and bullies, or ex-bullies, I should say. If you see a bully, stand your ground. You guys need to step up. Alright, like if you see someone in trouble, like I said, try getting a parent or try getting an adult. There's no one around at that time, step up and fight. But only as a last resort. Dang knows it just.
Yep.
Because you could be saving someone from a disaster. Could be. Shouldn't even matter what. Nobody should be putting up with being bullied left and right.
Mm-hmm.
I
Have you
mean,
seen the movie Found?
No, I haven't.
You know, the little boy is being bullied at school, and his older brother is a serial killer to protect him.
I have to look up that scene because I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to what I was saying, guys. So, but like I said, the only time to use violence is when you're using self-defense. But if you step up to the bully, make sure they make the first punch. Because if you go and attack, then they can get you for assault. But if you wait until they make the first move, then you got every right to fight back.
Uh-huh.
So basically, it's a like a double standard or a win-win situation.
Yeah, true. True.
And it shouldn't be like a double standard though.
Yep. True, you got that right.
But no, the one thing that really
That
does
mom.
the real one thing that really does get me is that girl bullies.
Yeah,
That's the
female
one.
bullies are weird.
Well, yeah. I mean, they could pick on themselves or they could pick on other people.
Yeah, but here's the part that people should not do. If you get bullied, don't become a bully yourself.
Hmm.
Just get help.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Or else it will, because being a bully, becoming a bully yourself because you get bullied, because you got bullied, will get worse and worse.
Hmm. And again, I'm using this reference, but there are some animes where I've seen where bullies become like thinking they're so overpowered they could take down anyone. Like, what was that one anime? It was the one where the guy had the baby that's son of the devil. I think it was like a Beelzebub or something like that.
The baby, the hair's
Yeah,
green.
yeah, that's the one.
Blah blah blah. Hold up. I know what you're talking about. He's in J Stars.
Yeah, Oga and Beelzebub. I think that's who they were.
Olga and Beelzebub.
Beelzebub. Yeah.
Bells above. Hold up. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
But yeah,
Um,
but bullying can also lead, like, and like I said, I am bringing up this topic since
oh
I
yeah,
did.
it is Beelzebub. It is Beelzebub. Yes, right.
Yeah. But yeah, but like I was saying, and
Yeah.
I
What
am,
about the episode? What about this show? But yeah. What about it?
yeah. Basically, the guy always picks fights, even though it was self-defense. But slowly over time, he became a bully.
Hmm.
Like nobody will want to pick a fight with him. Nobody will do nothing.
Yep.
But not all schools are like those of anime. And like I said,
Yeah.
guys, if you push a bully victim so far, and again, this reference is from Tyler Perry's Meet the Browns. You push a bully victim so far, then they can do something drastic.
Yep.
And by
True.
and by drastic, I mean like bringing a firearm into school. If they're pushed beyond that point, they will. So if you guys see someone who's picked on, you know what to do.
Hmm.
Be a friend and help them out.
Yep. True.
And there's tons of animes that could even explain that.
Hmm. Yep. Got that right.
And there is one other, and if you guys don't want to see how bad bullying can go, there is one episode of Supernatural that could change your tune on bullying. And it's
Uh
called
huh.
the After School Special.
Yeah.
And believe me, guys, being a bully can haunt you, even when you're even when you're down on your luck or when you're pushing up daisies. It can still come back and haunt you.
Yep.
Because everything you do in life is like a very permanent record. It can stay with you till the day you hit the ground.
Mhm. Yep. Got
So
that right.
so so try to do the right thing.
Mhm.
And don't take nothing for granted.
Yep.
Like, and I think I've said some stuff in the previous videos where if you guys have a dream, go for it. Like, if you have a friend and think of protecting someone who's been a bully victim for a while. Don't you think it would be a good way to have them see their dreams without being bullied?
Mhm.
I can tell you guys, I've had incident after incidents where I had to deal with bullies. But in the end, when push came to shove, I kept fighting. No matter how deep I got picked on, no matter how deep the injuries, the wounds, I just kept dusting myself off and keep going.
Mhm.
And to some of you, I know that's hard. But in the end, it'll be all worth it.
Yeah.
But the question is it your choice or decision?
Mhm.
Now as I stated throughout this podcast, if you guys want to use self-defense, like I said, use it as a last resort. But after you do, be sure to report it to the police. While it is true you might get into hot water, but as
Yep.
long as the police knows you did it in self-defense, like the bully made the first move, you had a right to self-defense. And as long as you have that right, then the police can only do so much.
Mhm.
So here's an example, okay? And I wish there were two of me right now. But say this fist is a bully, and this hand is you. Okay? Say you're just walking along through school, and you bump into the bully, and it was an accident. Okay?
Mhm.
They don't take it too well. So the best self-defense would be there are two best defenses on this one. Now, if you've seen Kenichi Earth's Mightiest Disciple, try using the stepping method, where you can trip him up into injuring himself by using his own weight against him. Or there's the second option. If you're in judo, martial arts, street fighting, pretty much anything, he goes to throw that punch, you have a right to self-defense, like twisting his arm or anything.
Mhm.
But as long as you don't break a bone or you don't do anything wrong, then he can be fined. Then he can pretty much be in trouble for assault.
Mhm.
But the choice is whether you go that far or not. Because I understand how some laws are these days.
Yep.
But the choice is completely up to you guys. Anyway, I'm going to stop the podcast here, guys. If you guys tuned into this podcast, please just replay through all that I've said, rehear all the examples. And again, I want you guys to think about this. Before you even do anything to a bully, think what the bully's going to do. How is he going to do this? What should I do? What state of defense should I go with? And should I use what I learned for self-defense?
Yep.
But anyway, guys, this has been Anime Gamer
Oh,
Fanboy.
also,
Oh, oh,
also one with the Or don't let the bully. Yeah, one thing when you mentioned that bumping into a bully on accident. One time when I was in high school, this one, one time I was walking with my friends and I accidentally stepped on some kid's shoe and I told him sorry and he said I swear and that kid said I swear one more person said my shoe I'm gonna beat him up and that person yeah because he said the second time it happened to him I'm the second person who stepped on his shoes and the third person stepped on his shoes and he tried to beat the kid up and he realized he's kidding because the kid's bigger than him.
Well, yeah, and to throw this in, some people always think they should be afraid of bullies because of their height. That can be true sometimes, but they also cannot be true.
Mm-hmm.
See, one thing I'm going to tell you guys before you fight a bully bigger than you, if the fight is the last resort, is that it doesn't matter the height, speed, or stamina of the bully.
Mm-hmm.
What matters is you know your advantages and
Or
disadvantages.
race.
Or, well, I wasn't going to bring that one up, but thanks for
Oh,
pointing that up
sorry.
there. That's all right.
Sorry. But
That's all
still
right.
though.
Yeah. But the thing is, guys, the one thing you got to know is it shouldn't matter the height, the weight, the race, anything of that sort. What you need to know is that you need to know your advantages, disadvantages, and what you can and can't do. So, like, example, say you have a bully and I'm just throwing a figure here, and not insulting people by weight. I'm just saying, but say you had a bully who's like 200 pounds, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now he's got muscle, but he also's got fat on the belly, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, and say there was a kid who's like as skinny as a stick, so say 70 to 60 pounds, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the kid would put these questions in advance before fighting. He's like, what are my advantages? What are my disadvantages? And how can I use them against the bully?
Yep.
That's what you guys need to do before you fight. Once when you figured that out, then you put that into play.
Mm-hmm.
So meaning, if fighting is your last resort, you want to use your advantages against the disadvantages. So like
Mm-hmm.
example, if you got a student who's a jock and you know all of his advantages but disadvantages as well,
Or
then
or a person in the gang member. Bullies are in the gangs too.
yeah,
They're, even gangs at school are bullies.
yeah, that is true. That is true.
Like
So like if
gangsters, yeah.
yeah, so like if you guys know the advantages and disadvantages of your situation,
Or thugs.
yeah. So like if you guys know the situation or the situation of your advantages and disadvantages before you fight, put those in your mind before even making a move.
And maybe pimps too. Maybe pimps.
You done?
Yeah, I'm done. Sorry.
It's all right. I know you're trying to help, but what I'm saying is,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
matter what you're fighting, bully wise, guys, the best thing you can do is you get a teacher, get a student, or you get a student. I can't even speak right. You get a teacher, you get a friend, you get anybody who's around at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and then what you need to do is you need to figure out your bully's advantages and disadvantages. And then you need to think, how can I use those advantages or disadvantages to my advantage? Or
Yeah.
how can I use this location to my advantage? But remember, and I'm going to say this again, and I don't condone the violence, but if you fight, you need to put your advantages and disadvantages on the line and then put them against the bullies. So basically
Mm-hmm.
it's basically like Yu-Gi-Oh. You need to know what monsters played, what trap, and what magic you have left. Once you
Mm-hmm.
got once you got that information, Bada bing, bada boom.
Yep, yep. You said it.
Hmm.
Or also be careful with the friends you hang out with as well.
True, true.
Yep, because they don't. Because most of the high schools drop out of high school because they be like smoking weed in the bathroom and skip class.
Yeah.
Happens to my brother's friend one time. Yeah, he hung out with the wrong crowd, smoking weed in the bathroom and outside just to skip class and sometimes school. And next school year he dropped out. In the beginning of a new year, he ran away from home.
Hmm. Well, I'll be honest with you. You just reminded me of a buddy of mine. I had a buddy of
Really?
mine who used to be in a gang, and pretty much what happened was he tried to get me to join, but I told him I couldn't. I mean, one, I'm not that way, and two, I would never.
He did the same. My friend did the same thing to my brother too, and my
But
brother said no.
yeah, yeah. But basically, my buddy that was in the gang, he told his leaders about it. So one day after school, their leader had one of his boys. I was halfway
Hmm.
home when they ambushed me in an. He told him, he said, "You tell the leaders that I."
Yeah. Damn.
And I know, and I was scared to death. I mean, like, because I saw that my friend was carrying a gun at the time.
Oh my God.
I literally was shaken, and I was like, this can't be him. But when he showed me it, I looked at it closely, and it turns out that it wasn't a real gun. It was just a pellet gun.
Oh, that was a close one, I guess.
I know. I looked at him and I was like, "Don't you think they would have noticed?" He was like, "Yeah, but here's the thing. I got a buddy of mine who knows how to modify BB guns who that look like real guns." And I was like, "Oh boy."
Dang.
Well, yeah, I was scared though, but my friend said after he saw what happened to me, he protected me, and he said he was gonna quit, which he did, because when he came to school the next day, he was 100% different.
Okay.
Like he quit the gang. He put that life behind him.
Okay.
I mean, I was happy about that, but I was also kind of worried about him because there are some cases where if you leave a gang, pretty much something bad could happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out that he was also under what was it called? Witness protection,
Mm-hmm.
and he was under that for maybe like until the gang stopped wanting to look for him.
Yeah.
But gang members didn't
Okay.
last very long though,
Dang.
because what happened was the gang dismembered because three of the top dogs went to a local pub thinking they were the biggest, baddest mother chickens in town.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a group of bikers there, and these bikers were like vicious. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
from what I heard, I don't know how my buddy heard about it, but he heard that that those three got ripped apart pretty bad.
Damn.
No, I mean like, and from what he was told, he went to the hospital to visit them, and their hands were practically wrapped. They had no fingers.
Damn.
I
Cause
know.
he got beat up by the gang member.
No, the bikers pretty much beat him up, and what ended up happening was they were in one of those matches where if you lose something.
Mm.
So on the line, they lost their fingers, pretty much.
Damn.
I felt bad, but after I saw that happen, I vowed I would not get mixed up into that, even with bullies.
Ouch.
Because how the road goes with bullies, guys. If you go down the wrong path, than what could happen was what could have happened to what my friend could have gone through.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not good.
Yep.
I mean,
And ouch.
yeah. I mean, like, I literally, and when I got home, I told my mom everything. And she was kind of scared for my friend. But she was also proud that he made the right choice.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep. That's good they quit the gang, I guess.
yeah.
And glad you didn't get hurt.
But yeah. So basically, guys, we're gonna do it like a chakra nature or a chakra tree or whatever. Up here's the start, where bullying starts. Then it'll slowly manifest to 3 points: cyber,
Mm-hmm.
school, or public. And once when
Mm-hmm.
it manifests to 9, which will go 2 apiece, I think. Oh no, it'll manifest to 6. Sorry, which will pretty much go into worse or darker territory. And when it manifests more, guys, it could land the bully victim someplace between between a date with the Grim Reaper or worse.
Mm-hmm.
But it could land the bullies in a worse position. Ergo, it could mean prison time or worse than what my friend went through.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the choice is completely up to you. Now, if you've been through the Scared Straight programs, parents, if parents are watching this, I would recommend that you would ship your kids who are bullies through the Scared Straight program.
Yep.
Usually those things
But
would usually those things would straighten a kid right up.
yep. But here's the terrible part though. But the way that my brother's friend went away from home, he just basically took his mom's car without telling her and just drove off and he haven't come home in like a week.
Wow.
And so a week later, it's starting to feel strange now for her that year. He just basically took her car without telling her.
Yeah.
So he stole her car without telling her.
Yeah, I can understand that one.
Yeah, so basically a week later, she just guessed he ran away from home.
That is
Yep.
true. Sometimes that stuff can happen.
Yep.
But like what we're hammering home with this video, guys, it's your choice on what you do. But like I said, if you turn the bully in, then you have to turn the bully in. Whether it be a parent, adult, or teacher or principal. But if you're in a position where there's no teacher, principal, police officer, or anybody around, then the next alternative is for self-defense. And again, if you guys go to a dojo, karate, or anything, you only use that for self-defense.
Mhm.
So if a bully pretty much throws the first punch, then that's actually considered self-defense. Because the bully has to throw the first punch. If they don't,
Yep.
and if they don't, and you throw the first punch, then there you go.
Mhm.
But anyway, guys, like I was saying though, I know I've been doing this podcast for 2 hours and 25 minutes, but
Yep. Take the first punch.
shoot. But like I
Yep,
said,
take the first punch.
yeah. But like I said, with some bullies, they will decide to throw the first punch, and some bullies they'll wait for you to slip up.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way the law sees it is, if you slip up and make the first punch, then you're in trouble. But if the bully makes the first punch and you use self defense, then he's in trouble.
Yep.
But anyway, guys, like I was saying,
You said it.
oh yeah, but like I was saying, guys, but and again, I'm gonna repeat this, and I know I'm repeating myself like a broken record, but the points you got to remember when fighting a bully, and these are the points I'm gonna tell you. If you're in a position where you have adults around and there's a bully, 5 questions you should ask. You ask yourself: one, who should I turn the bully into? Two, should I bring up all the bring up all the information? Should I bring up all the information that's going on, even if it involves personal wise?
Or sometimes the person you are friends with using you too.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because one time back in that back in 2012, one of my friends I used to work with, we used to hang out until that one day when he came to my house to pick me up. I I was ready, and then the one thing I gotta do is set the alarm. So I set the alarm, and when I opened the door, my friend just barged into my house. I'm like, what the heck? And so I cut the alarm off and took all my games and just said, let's go.
Hmm.
Took all my games and drove off. I'm like, really, dude? And then right when we got in the car, we were driving to his house, and by the time we made it to his house, I hit him.
You hit him.
Yeah,
Why?
because he just barged in my house like a criminal and just stole all my games, like without saying anything.
Hmm. Yeah. So, like I said, guys, and like what my co-host mentioned, watch for bullies and watch your friends. As the old saying goes, keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Yeah, true, you got that right. Like he just barged into my house and just took the games without saying anything to me. Why would I set the alarm?
Wait, set the security alarm or the?
Security alarm.
Hmm.
Yeah, why would I set the security alarm? I opened the door to get out, and my friend just ran inside my house and took a lot of my games without telling me. And then when he went in the car and went to his house, I hit him
Well, you should have taken a little
because you can't
more.
do that.
Well, yeah, not lecturing you, dude, but I'm just saying you should have taken a little more of a rational approach.
True.
Not lecturing you. I'm just saying you had it right, but
You should have said something to me
yeah, that is true. That is
before
true.
you, yeah, before he just took my games.
All right, guys. Um, before I end this podcast, there are some end announcements. If you made it through the 2 hours and 30 minutes, if you guys are gonna ask where the thing for the Funimation versus Japanese sub versus 4Kids, we are gonna try to get everyone all together on that one. Uh, but like I said, it will take some time. So I will try to get that worked out all together. But what else? Um. Oh yeah, but like I was repeating beforehand, the questions you guys got to ask yourself, and constantly ask this on your mind while you're in school or any place out. If you come across a bully, the first question you should ask, what should I do? And then give yourself options. Then, if you get into the point where you're at where you're in a conflict, you think, what should I do? And then list your options. Now, remember, like I said, if you fight, you need to know your opponent's advantages and disadvantages.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, I don't condone violence, and I'm not saying just go in, and I'm just saying use it as a last resort.
Yep. Got
And,
that right.
but anyway, and then lastly, the last question is after the incident, like after you've been in the fight or after you've told an adult, the last question you should ask. And again, fight for only if it's a last resort. But then you should ask yourself, should I report this? Should I tell a friend? And should I tell a parent? Now, once you do all that, the bully should be dealt with. But remember, if you have to go in for questioning because the bully made the first move, make sure you have evidence. Like example, have a camera on you or have anything on you that can help prove your innocence.
Yes, got that right.
But anyway, guys, like I was saying,
Make sure you hide the camera on you.
yeah, because some bullies, if they notice a camera, they'll quickly jump on your case because they'll try to keep themselves looking innocent.
Mm-hmm.
So, best thing
Yep,
I
but
would.
otherwise they'll take the camera from you and just break it.
Mhm. So, the best advice I can give you at this point is if you can find a micro camera, like like a spy cam size, then you should be able to use that as a self defense.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm gonna tell you guys one last time about when I had to deal with a bully, and then after that I'm gonna call off the stream or not call off the stream, get off stream because one I'd like to take a chill pill because my throat, but there was one time my sister had this boyfriend. She broke up with him, and this was when we was in a different town at the time.
Mm-hmm.
The boyfriend didn't take the breakup too well, and he was a real jerk. Well, one night he called the house, and he started saying stupid stuff like he was gonna hunt us down, he was gonna do this, he was gonna do that, yada yada yada. So you know what? I was like, okay, this guy's lost his mind. So I thought it was a nobody. I thought it was just a drunkard calling. So I hung up. Well, one night my friend was staying over at the time, and my friend and we was up playing video games at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So instantly I hear a loud thud, and you know what I mean by a thud, right? Like what if something falls over or
Yeah.
okay. So what ended up happening was I hear a loud thud, and I'm thinking, oh crap, something's going on. So I get a baseball bat, and I gave my friend a weapon as well, and we go to patrol. I see someone in the room, and he jumps out the window carrying a backpack full of stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So me and my friend, we went outside and we split up. Like he took one way, I took another. The guy came right past me. I took the baseball
Who's
bat.
home?
What?
Was your parents home?
No, both my parents were working.
Hmm. That late?
Yeah, and my sister, she was at a friend's place at the time. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So the figure comes running towards me, and I took the baseball bat and whacked him hard in the knee, pretty much. That a bone popped. Well, I got the
Wow.
guy. Yeah, I caught the guy. My friend comes around. My friend pulls out his cell phone and calls the police, and I'm pummeling the guy like crazy. I take the backpack, and he has some of my sister's belongings, like her diary, her some personal items, and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out it was my sister's ex-boyfriend, the one she broke up with.
Oh my God. You took out the mask, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I took off the mask,
Hmm.
and I literally was wailing on him to the point where the police. It took 2 to 5 officers to pull me off.
Hmm.
Now they was gonna get me for assault, but however, there was one female officer that was pretty bright, cause she knew he broke into my property, and we had security cameras too that time. So
Mm-hmm.
they reviewed the security footage, and since he broke in, I had a right to self-defense.
Yeah.
So what happened was he got arrested. His parents, sorry, his parents found out what happened pretty much,
Hmm.
and the father came on to me, and pretty much the police officer sided with me, because she said that his son broke in,
Mm-hmm.
took some stuff, and then was trying to quote unquote flee the scene.
Is it one person or two person that broke into your house?
One, just the ex.
Oh. Oh, okay.
So after I wailed on him and kicked the stuffing out of him, pretty much, I literally was about ready to flat out turn him female, but I restrained because one, I didn't want to go to prison, and two, I literally just calmed it down a bit, you know. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the police did say I had anger issues, and I mean, and they had it on my record pretty much. So once when that happened, pretty much, they assigned me to anger management or anger therapy, whatever.
Stupid.
Well, no, they pretty much told me, well, I was in the right for self defense. However, because my anger showed, if I would have kept wailing on him, he would have been, well, either knocked unconscious or not breathing, pretty much.
Mm.
So they said they'll cut me some slack because I was defending my property because he broke in, but they also said I had to take anger management. So
Okay.
yeah, so for a month, pretty much, I took anger management. The police were notified by the counselor, and they said that I made some pretty good recoveries, and they even said that I was okay. And they said that as long as I know when enough's enough on the violence, then I can leave. So the counselor put me to a test. Like she put a dummy there in front of me, and
Mm-hmm.
she pretty much put a fake backpack on it, and it was labeled "sister's personal possessions."
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Now, what do you do?" She shoved the dummy at me like it was coming at me. I uppercut it in the stomach, and I hit a nerve point.
Mm-hmm.
Once I was on top of the dummy, I restrained it like he was a real person and was going to continue pummeling it, but I stopped and thought, if as long as I have him restrained, then that's as far as I go.
Okay.
So what ended up happening was I passed my anger management, which was a good thing. So,
Okay.
but yeah, but basically, when the father tried to take me to court, pretty much because, like I said, because of what happened, the judge heard the whole story from me. He had the security footage, and he had a police report. So
Damn.
they lost the case pretty much. So I, on the other hand, you know, when before the judge could sentence me, the police said he has already been through anger management and learned his lesson. So
Mhm.
they just let me off with a slap on the wrist,
Okay.
which was a good thing at least. But anyway, guys,
True. So glad you guys didn't get hurt though.
yeah. But anyway, guys, so like I was saying, there are times where self-defense is a good thing, but you just gotta know exactly when the appropriate time is to use it.
Yep. So basically, he broke into you guys' house because he's mad. I'm guessing. Still.
Well, no, I'm not
I'm
mad
saying he
about
was. I'm saying he broke into you guys' house because he was mad. Still, I'm guessing.
it pretty much
Okay.
because my sister pretty much broke his heart. So
Mhm.
he pretty much tried to get even by taking her stuff and then starting trouble.
Well, that's stupid.
I know, but
Yeah. What kind of person would do that though?
people who let revenge blind them.
I could see that. But mostly, yeah. But mostly, girls don't take breakups well if a boy break up with her.
Mm, that is true on that one. That
Yeah.
is
Girls are worse than that.
well, not all girls are, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, girls are worse than girls. Girls get breakup are worse than guys get breakup.
Well, I've actually had a couple breakups where I pretty much was like that, but we'll save that topic for another time for video. If you guys want to hear
Yeah,
about
true.
my past experience with breakups, we will get into that with relationship advice. But like I said, I've been streaming for almost 3 hours. My voice is almost gone. So this has been Anime Gamer Fanboy, and this has been the co-hostess with the mostest.
Brand 36 on my
And
PSN name or
mm,
my YouTube name Brand X2.
mm-hmm. And thank you all for watching. But like I said, to hammer this home, if you guys are ever in a sticky situation, you must think, what should I do? What should I do about my advantages and disadvantages? What are my disadvantages and advantages? Who should I turn this into? And what's the aftermath? If you think all those steps when you're in that situation, you'll be fine. But just remember the one thing I've said: fighting is a last resort. If there is no other choice and there's a situation you can't get out of, then you fight. But anyway, this has
Yep,
been,
yep, you got that right.
yep, but this has been Anime Gamer Fanboy. Like, subscribe,
And
favorite. Oh,
and Brand X2 YouTube name and my PSN name Brand 36.
like, subscribe, and favorite. And thank you all for watching. And again, sorry if I sound like the squeaky teenager from The Simpsons, still getting over the cold. But thank you all for tuning in on the topic for bullying. And like I said, disclaimer at the end, this is all opinions on our point of views of experiences. So I will put that disclaimer in the description as well. But thank you all for watching. To all you cool cats and girls, if you're from the UK, have a good morning to evening. If you're from the US, have a good morning. And thank you all for watching. And I will catch you guys next time. Until then, peace out, and I will see you guys next time. Until then, maybe you guys will see my next podcast, and I hope you do. Peace.